Hi, my name's Nicole Vick. This is for COM 430, our interview protocol. I chose to interview my father-in-law, John Vick, because he was a pretty big wig in the corporate world, and I want to follow in those footsteps. He started his career back at this company called AB Dick in Chicago. Pretty much started as a janitor and ended up working his way to the top and ended up taking over and being vice president of the company, and then was vice president of several other companies in corporate as well before he ended up stepping out of corporate and owning his own business. Some of the questions that I asked him in my interview, well, first and foremost, I want to say the reason why I interviewed him was because I feel as though he, out of everybody that I know, has the most leadership experience, and I feel like that is what this class is based on. Some of the questions that I asked him that I can relate to stuff that we've gone over in our Google Chat group meetings and the topics in class. One of the questions I asked was, what do you feel are the best qualities a leader could have and why? And his response was, confidence along with personality are extremely important. When you hold a high position like the one I had, people hang on to every word you say, so you need to be confident, which I completely think is correct. We just went over types of speech and like fillers, like which I use, obviously. You can already tell in this speech. And that is kind of taken as, by the people that you're presenting your speech to, they kind of take that as lack of confidence, like you don't sound sure of yourself. So that is, I guess, extremely important to be confident in everything that you say. You need to make people believe and trust that what you're saying is true and that you have their best interest at heart. I also asked, what do you feel are the worst qualities a leader could have and why? And his response was being dishonest and not willing to grow with changes of the company. Sometimes the top guys get so stuck in their ways they can't accept that things can change, whether it's new technology or being transferred to a new team. If you want to make it to the top, you need to accept those changes as they come and still own your position. I guess I can relate to that because my last job that I, recently just left for my new job, I started at that firm as a billing specialist. And once the HR manager resigned and gave a really short 2 weeks notice, I was offered that position in HR. It kind of fell into my lap. I had some payroll experience, but not real HR experience. And I just kind of took it and ran with it. It was really important for me. My boss knew from the second that he hired me that it was a goal of mine to eventually be a firm administrator, chief operating officer, executive director. The title kind of depends on where you work and the size of your firm, but I wanted to learn every position eventually anyway, so I just kind of took it with a grain of salt, dove right in, and now I'm actually the director of HR at a different firm, a job that I just got a couple of weeks ago. So I do think that if you are willing to change and accept things as they come, it's extremely crucial for the growth of your career. I did ask him a question. I said, I want to follow in your footsteps and run a corporation one day, but I sometimes struggle with being patient. What advice do you have for me to help me realize that things take time? He said it definitely takes time and you need to be patient. In order to run a company or an important position of a company, you need to fully understand all the moving parts in order to be successful, and that takes time, which I think is extremely true. I don't think that you can run a team and be responsible for knowing all of the ins and the outs if you don't take the time to really know the ins and the outs. Let's see. Do you feel that leading for all of those years changed you as a person? If so, how and in what ways? And he said, I would say so. I was so busy when I worked in the corporate world that I lost a lot of time with my family, so I never take that time for granted anymore. Aside from all the stuff and being a leader and my goals in my career, I do have 2 small kids and a husband and lots of friends. And sometimes I do get too focused on work and I work too many hours and I don't really give myself a break. And that does cut into time with my loved ones. So I do think it's important to realize that they come first. But overall, I have learned so much about leadership in this class, which I'm extremely grateful for, especially when it comes to speaking. I'm not the best speaker in front of groups of people, so the first Google Chat meeting was a little bit intimidating, but I am a part of a great group and everybody's really nice, and it made it that much easier for conversation. But it's been great. And and doing this interview with my father-in-law has also taught me so much about leadership, and it's nice to really apply the concepts that we've learned in class to certain questions and things that I really want to know about where my career is leading or heading. So, thank you.